You got it? Alright, I'm going to do a short video on how to do yarn wraps, which is what I have in my hair. It looks kind of like dreads. In some of the pictures they look super shiny, but they're really not. In person they look just like dreads. With mine I did 2 colors. You can do all 1 color, 2 colors, whatever you want to do. As long as you have 100% acrylic or polyester yarn, you're good to go. If you use wool, it's a natural fiber and it'll lock into your hair. To start, make sure your hair is clean and well oiled. I use a combination of grapeseed oil, olive oil, coconut oil, a bunch of oils in my hair. After I wash it, I do it. Oh, and Jamaican black castor oil. Do like a hot oil treatment. And you'll need a spray bottle with water and oil in it. And you'll need some kind of gel. Don't use a cream-based gel because it'll have buildup at your scalp. It's going to do that anyway, but if you use a water-based gel, it's better. I'm going to show you how to do 1 or 2 on my daughter Ryan's hair. I'm braiding it now, but I can stop to do a few yarns. With mine, since I did 2 colors, the color I started with is the one that ended up on the tip, and you'll see how I do that here. So I'm going to part the hair. Karen, you can come closer. My 8-year-old is doing the video, so I hope you can see everything. So we section the hair. And bear with me. Make sure it's detangled. I spritz it a little bit. You want to make sure it's well oiled and wet because the yarn is going to seal it off totally except at the root. So you have to make sure you do your scalp, oil your scalp daily. With my size, I did about 5 or 6 strings of the brown yarn. It's super thin. That's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Take one out. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it in just like you would when you're braiding in extensions. Fold it in half. I did mine really long, so I wrapped it around 4 legs of a dining chair. You can do them shorter if you want. I've seen people braid the entire length of the yarn and go back and wrap it, but that doesn't make sense to me, so I don't. You anchor it around your hair and you begin braiding. The 2 strands of the yarn will act as 2 of the parts of your braid, and your hair is the 3rd strand. And I stop braiding once I get to the end of the natural hair, just to make sure it's sealed in there. You can actually stop now because all you want to do is make sure that the yarn is in there. So I can stop there if I want. Now the rest of this is going to be wrapped with yarn, and you stop when you get the length that you want. And I take about 4 strings to wrap with. You can use 1, but if you can keep them flat just like that instead of bunched up, you can wrap much quicker. Now a lot of people, when they do their yarn wraps, I've seen videos where they just leave strings out of this braid. They would leave some dangling here to wrap. I didn't like that. What I do is I take a few more strings and kind of even it up a little bit. With yarn, it doesn't matter if it's even or not. You can always add more or cut it if it's uneven. Fold it a little bit, not super. It's not going to be in half. If you can see, this is the short part, and then it's super long there. I'm going to wrap this around just like I'm going to braid it again, but I'm not. I'm going to just hold it. The key is holding it tight. Wrap it around maybe once, and you're going to take the short part and start wrapping. It's going to be tight, but you want to make sure you cover all of the yarn. And it's easy to tell when you're using 2 colors if you have some spaces. But the good thing about yarn is if you have spaces, you can just slide it up and down to cover up what's exposed. And as you can see, this part is getting shorter. So all you have to do is blend that in and pick up the long strings and start wrapping around the short ones. This takes a very long time, but it's worth it. If you can step back, Kieran, and film the whole thing so you can see I'm wrapping it all in there.
It's good.
Okay. It's very difficult to do on your own hair, and it takes forever. The thing is to make sure that it stays tight and that you wrap everything. Now you will make mistakes, because I found one time that I left out a string. I'm going to show you how to fix that. Let's say I'm wrapping and I leave out a brown one. And I didn't figure out I left it out until I got way far down. And there was no way I was going to unwrap and do it all over for one string. So I'll show you how I fix that. And you keep going. And you keep going. It's tricky, but once you get it down, and make sure you pull it tight every now and then. They will be stiff for a few days, but they loosen up after a couple showers. Mine are still tight, and I just finished them Thursday. But they are starting to loosen up because I started Monday, so some of them are looser. But I'm gonna stop here in a minute just so I can show you how I seal it off. Once I'm past her hair, I'll stop. And this is not as neat as I would do it if I was gonna keep it in there. But since I'm not keeping it, I'm just doing it for the purpose of the video. And you can't really see it, but I'm holding this really tight, and as I go, I make sure it's flat with this finger. So make sure these strings stay flat. A lot of people will take one string and wrap around this whole thing, but that takes too long. Now, if you get to the end and you see that your wrap is getting thinner, you can take these strings, fold them in half, and just keep wrapping. And it gets concealed as you wrap it. But either way, this is how I would seal it. I would take two of the strings that are being wrapped, 2 or 3. Sorry for yanking your hair. I wrap it around your finger, and I'm just gonna knot it a couple times. Sometimes when you cut it off, you can snip it and it'll come unraveled, so I knot it at least 3 times. That's 2, and then that's 3. I'm gonna grab my scissors real quick. If I can find them. And I'm just gonna cut it where the knot is. And we'll take a lighter and burn the end. And it cools off quicker than hair would, so you can just give it a little below and stop. And then with this, you realize you left one out. If it was longer down the length where I know her hair wasn't gonna be, I would just burn it. But you can cut it. Bad scissors, they've been through a lot. And then just pull the yarn down, like roll it over so you can't even see it. But if you notice that it's like frizzy looking, you can take the lighter and just go up and down the length. And you don't worry about your hair because it's in there. It's pretty much sealed, so. And that is it. That one's pretty thick because I used a lot of strings, but it's really simple to take down too. You just cut the end. And you unravel. Sometimes it can be fun and it just comes right undone. You can play around with colors. We've done platinum, purple, teal, all that fun stuff. But yeah, these are yarn wraps, and I like them better than the braids because you cannot see your hair in them. Like, Kieran, if you come close, you can see. Normally I would do black yarn for Ryan's hair, but you can clearly see the difference in the hair texture and the yarn texture. But with the wraps, your hair is completely concealed except for the very root. And that's it. You unbraid it like you would an extension. And when your hair comes out of these, I usually keep mine from 4 to 8 weeks. When your hair comes out, you would think it would be super dry. As long as you keep your scalp oiled and you wash them and keep them moisturized every day, your hair will come out very, very, very moisturized. And I've had no breakage. They don't get frizzy, none of that stuff. But yeah, that's a yarn wrap. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Bye.